Welcome back. Episode 3, Tent Talks, the Mental Camping Podcast, hosted by me, Ryan Hunter, aka the Yorkshire Lad Outdoors, on Instagram and YouTube. As always, go check it out, subscribe, click, hit the bell, all that shit. Grow the following. We're over 500 subscribers now. Thanks very much. Actually, talking to subscribers, massive shout out to Adventure is Made, Matt, reaching 20,000 subs this week on YouTube. Absolutely epic achievement. Well done, buddy. His content is outstanding. Go give it a check. Go check him out. And he's got a dog, so say no more. Right, episode 3. We're still going, unbelievably. What have I been up to since I last spoke to you? It's been a couple of weeks, hasn't it? I have been out and about. I went camping with the kids. My wildest camp to date. 2 nights in a 5-man tent in a campsite in North Yorkshire. Fucking hell, if you think it's difficult setting up a tent in a windy mountain, try setting up a 5-man tent on your own with a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old. I wasn't going to drink, but 20 minutes in, I was straight to the camp shop. 4 cans of Foster's on absolute chav, but it were needed. Fucking mental. I think the tent weighs about 15 kilograms. My little lad, bless his soul, wanted to help. He was more of a hindrance than a help, but just I had to pack those 2 off to the park and then just crack on with it. It took me about, I think from getting there to setting up, to finish setting up was about an hour and a half. Absolute manic. There's a bloke next to me in the tent trying to set his 2-man tent up as well, his 5-man tent up. This big Berghaus thing. He hated his wife. He hated his family by the end of it. But you got to do it, haven't you? Joking aside, it was absolutely class. We had a great time. Campsite's called Golden Square Caravan Park in Helmsley, North Yorkshire. Beautiful part of the world. The weather was absolutely mint. It was just a great time. So I had a couple of nights there. Night 1, just me and the kids on our own. Stayed up, had marshmallows, watched a film. It was just brilliant. Absolutely loved it. Just in my element with my best mates, and it was just, we loved it. And then the missus came on Saturday, and we just had a cracking few days. It was lovely. And then I was back out this weekend. I was out in the lakes on Saturday with my mate Alistair. Shout out to him if you're listening. Well, I hope he is, because there's only 100 odd people listened, and I think he's listened about 10 times. So thanks, Al. So yeah, we were out in the lakes on Saturday. We did the, what's it called? Grisdale Horseshoe, I think it's called. So we started off in Patterdale, and we walked up to Helvellyn via Striding Edge. It's the first time I've ever done it. I've wanted to do Striding Edge for a good few years now, and it was a beautiful clear day on Saturday, so it was a hell of a slog up to there from Patterdale, up to the hole in the wall, and then over Striding Edge onto Helvellyn were just absolutely incredible views. If you've not been up to Helvellyn, I would highly recommend it. The views are just absolutely incredible. 360 panoramic, and Striding Edge is just an absolute, it's just ace. It's just such good fun. It's a bit gnarly in places, a bit scary. Did I just say gnarly? Fucking gnarly. From Yorkshire. It was a bit dicey in places, let's say that. And we had a 35 kilometre crosswind, which didn't make things easier. So we pretty much stuck to the little path that scurries around the side of it, but I did have a little go in places of getting up on the top and the exposed bit and walking over and having to scramble, but yeah, real good fun. It's pretty hard work as well. It's hard going, but I think with scrambling, if you've done it, you'll agree your concentration levels are just sky high, and it's just such good fun. I absolutely loved it. Again, I was misled with bloody Striding Edge. It didn't say it in the brochure. I thought it was effectively a bridge from the start of it to the top of Helvellyn. Is it fuck? You get over Striding Edge, and you've got to go down some death drop, which doesn't look that high when you're looking at it, but from the top down, I thought that were it. Game over, insert coin. But managed to get down that. And then you get down there, and then it's fucking almost a vertical scramble to the top, but well worth it when you get there. The wind was howling. There's a lovely little memorial at the top of Helvellyn as well. We'll say lovely. It's a memorial, so it's not that lovely, is it? And so that's some bloke who got crushed by rocks, I think. But anyway, it's worth going to see. So then, yeah, got to the top of Helvellyn. We had a beer. Spoke to a lad from Newcastle on the top. He was suffering from cramp, so he might still be up there now, but he was really struggling. But yeah, we had a beer and then walked on down to where we were going to camp, which is at Grizedale Tarn. So yeah, I think we went over Nethermost Pike, Dollywagon Pike. I don't know if they were pikes, I just keep saying pike. Nethermost Summit, Dollywagon, that were pike. And then down to Grizedale Tarn, where that was going to be our campsite for the night. But the wind had other options. It was absolutely ripping through the valley. And there wasn't a single spot that wasn't completely exposed. Well, there was one single, but someone is in there in his Lanshan. Lucky bastard, by the way. 2 weeks since I've done this podcast and ordered that Lanshan, and it's still not here. Methinks me might have been landshafted, but let's see, it might be here in a couple of days. Anyway, yeah, so Grizedale Tarn. So we had a couple of options, really. Well, we had 3 options. Stay at Grizedale Tarn and get blown into the tarn and effectively die. So we quickly scratched that one off the list. One was walk back down to the car via the valley back to Patterdale, which was about a 2-hour walk. But we didn't want to do that and bail. So we actually went over down up the side of the tarn and just chanced our arm. I think it's near Seat Sandal, and found a really nice little, almost like a bowl that was cut into the valley. So we got in there and got the tent set up out the wind. And yeah, had a lovely chat. Talked absolute nonsense. Talked about stuff people weren't interested in, like backpacks and, well, stuff you guys are listening to now. It was just a really lovely, pleasant night. And then we had woke up to a lovely sunrise. It's a chilly morning, but just beautiful views out of the tent. And then back down to the car, which took us, again, that was nice, a couple of hours walk straight down the valley. We were gonna go over St Sunday Crag and do the high route, but both of us looked at each other as if to say, come on, mate, you know the score. None of us want to do this anymore. We just want to get down to the car. And that's what we did. And then it was back home. And here we are now, Thursday night. I was going to go out camping tonight, actually, on a school night, but work got the better of me, and I decided that it was too late to go. So I thought I'd do a podcast and speak to you lovely people. Back to Saturday, and I'm jumping about. I was out with a lightweight camping gear. This podcast isn't about lightweight camping. We did that to death last week. But I can see the appeal, is all I'm going to say. My new backpack came, the Sierra Designs Flex Capacitor. When that thing hits 88 miles an hour, we are fucked. And just a dream. Such a comfortable bag. I was in my Scarp, one, because my Lanshan isn't here yet. And I just packed fairly light. And I think my base weight was about 7 kilograms. With water and a bit of food, I was just over 9 kilograms. So, but the hike up to Helvellyn and everything else, I didn't even feel I had a bag on my back. My knees felt great the day after. My shoulders weren't hurting. So I think lightweight is absolutely the way forward. It just makes such a difference, and it makes the hike a lot more enjoyable. So yeah, I really, I think that's the way I'm going now. I think if I'd have had the Osprey, if I'd have had my big heavy bag on, I don't think I'd have got up to Helvellyn, and I think I'd have just moaned the entire way around. So lightweight camping is the way forward for me, especially in the summer months. I had trail runners on. I got myself, I just had some hiking joggers on, some Patagonia ones which weighed next to nothing, and I just felt so different to walking in the heavy boots. And that was that. In other good news, I've got my first guest booked in for the pod on Monday the 9th of May, so we're going to have a good chat. I won't tell you who he is, but he's an absolute ledge on YouTube. His channel has just gone from strength to strength. His videos are so authentic, and he's just a top lad, and I'm guessing he's got a great backstory, and just he does camping for the right reasons, and he's just a top lad. So I'm really, really looking forward to speaking to him. So I'll probably announce who that's going to be a bit nearer the pod, but that should be good. And then I've got another couple as well who are pretty much red hot leads to come on. So really exciting to start getting into the interview portion of this podcast. So what I was thinking about earlier on was someone asked me at work about, do I get scared? Is there a fear factor with camping? Oh, don't you get scared when you're out in the hills? Or don't you get scared when you're out in the woods? In the woods, sometimes, yeah, I do. I shit myself a little bit. I don't like all the noises. But in the hills, I don't feel any fear. I feel completely isolated, but completely quiet, and I just love it. But one of the fears I had, and I wanted to talk about that on today's pod, is the fear I had when I started my YouTube channel and the Instagram. I started my Instagram, which is fine. It's just taking pictures. But the YouTube, and I've made my first video, I just didn't tell anyone about it. I didn't tell any of my mates. I didn't tell my family. I didn't tell anyone. I made my videos and hoped they were anonymous amongst my friends. And weirdly, I was wanting strangers on the internet to watch them, but not my mates. And yeah, I just was so scared. And my biggest fear was the most ridiculous one that I think a lot of us have, but for me was, I was just so bothered about what other people would think. And would they take the piss out of me? And like, oh, would they all think, oh my God, look at him, he's a grown man talking to his camera in the mountains. And I really wanted to do it. I really wanted to make a YouTube channel. I really wanted to record my journeys. I really wanted to build that community. But I was so scared to get started and do, and because of what other people would think and about what the people closest to me would think. And I remember talking to other YouTubers about it, and they all felt the same. Like, they had significant followings on YouTube before their friends and family even found out about it, and they only found out by chance, where someone had mentioned or they'd seen the video online. But that feeling of what other people think about you is the fear that stops us doing a load of things. It's what stopped me starting my photography business when I first started that, because I was worried about what if I think about it, like kind of what my dad would think about me considering coming out of a career that I've got in a bank and everything else to become a photographer or become a wedding photographer. And it just became a massive fear factor to even talk about that. And other things in my life that I've been so anxious about and built myself up and really struggled with mentally. And when I break it down, the reason I've struggled with them is because I've thought, what would other people think about this situation? And absolute bollocks. It doesn't matter what other people think. Well, to be honest, here's the thing. People don't care, is what I found out. I did I made a massive deal of it on my YouTube channel. Well, I did in my own head. I think I did a video about mental health, about why we need to talk about it. And that was the day I was really struggling. And I thought, do you know what? Fuck it. Just tell people. Just announce it that you've got a YouTube channel and see if people are interested and see if it'll help anyone. And I put a post on Instagram with a screenshot of the thumbnail from YouTube, and I put this massive, I ummed and ahed over what I was going to say for ages, like, life's too short to not do what you love and this and that, and people might laugh, but here's the thing. And I put so many negative connotations to almost protect myself for when someone did take the piss out of me, that I'd be like, oh yeah, I knew you'd take the piss. But I ended up putting a story out saying, I've done a YouTube video, I've done a YouTube channel, it's what I want to do, I enjoy it. And I got some really nice comments. People messaged me saying, well done, the video was good, really liked it, good for you. But the biggest thing that I realised, which is the biggest eye-opener for it all, is no one gave a fuck. No one cared. A couple of people, like I said well done. No one messaged me and gone, you wanker, you've got a YouTube channel, you sadder. And just from that day on, I'd built myself up into such a stupor that I just thought, what's the point in worrying what other people think? How arrogant of us is it to think that people care about us that much, that we're that important in their daily life that they're going to sit while they're having dinner with their family talking about Ryan's YouTube channel or Ryan's podcast. Again, even thinking about doing this podcast, I ummed and ahed, thinking, what will people think? He's doing a podcast, who does he think he is? Well, if you do think that, fuck you. Because I'm doing it because I want to do it. Will anything come of it? I hope so, but there's every chance there won't, but I don't care. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy talking to you people who I'm talking to now, who's listening to on Spotify or watching on YouTube. If you are watching on YouTube, by the way, mass apologies for what's going on with my Barnet. It's due an haircut. I've left my good hair gel. I've left my hair product at my missus's house, and this is what I've stuck with. I've had to go out in public like this today, but it is what it is. I'll be getting it cut soon. Again, that's another thing. Going out today, what will people think? My hair looks shit. Who cares? Absolutely no one. Absolutely no one cares. And yeah, I think that's one of the biggest fear factors that any of us have got when doing something new for the first time or getting outside our comfort zone. It's often not the fear of doing the thing itself, it's the fear of what people think. And fear of failure. What if it goes wrong? What if people take the piss? But it don't matter, does it? I've read something the other day that's saying it's not actually failure that we fear. It's fearing that we can't deal with the consequences of failure. And I thought that was very powerful. It's true, innit? Because if you fear failing, you'll never do anything. And the reality is, you're probably going to fail at some stage in your life. You probably fail more times than you succeed. But failing in itself is not something to fear. All you've got to worry about is, can I deal with it? Once it doesn't work, can I deal with the aftermath? And what was I fearing about a YouTube channel failing? Or my mates taking the piss out of me because I do this? Well, nothing really. All I would have gone is, fuck off. Or, very funny. And that'd have been it. And if they continue to take the piss and people continue to take the piss out of it, then you just think, well, you've not got anything better to do than to rip into someone who wants to do something they want to do. It's the same with all these bell ends on the comment section. Luckily, I've only got a small following so far on YouTube, so the comments are from people who regularly watch my videos and listen to the podcast, and they're generally very positive comments. No one says anything particularly nasty. I've had some feedback about where I edit and should I do something else, or I've had feedback around kind of the way I edit, and someone didn't like the music on one video, but in the whole of it, it's positive and it's really nice to read, and it is a bit of a, I don't know, I think I said it on one of the last ones, it's a bit of an ego boost. It's nice to think the content you've put out there people are enjoying, and it's giving them something to watch and something to enjoy. But you see some of the bigger channels now and they get more views, which is great, but then you also get your fair share of bellends who just put awful shit and awful comments on people's videos and Instagram posts, and with there's no reason for it other than there just must be I think they're just very unhappy people. If you're going to have to go after someone that you don't even know to say horrible things about them, about something they're trying to do and something they enjoy doing, if you're going to go online and say something horrible to them, one, you're an absolute prick, and two, I pity you because you're probably very unhappy in your own life that you have to go after someone else and worry about what they're doing. And some people have got thick skin, some people can deal with it, but some people can't, and some people take it to heart. And with the social media stuff, in the past I've thought, well, people are only doing it because they want to kind of air their best bits online and Instagram, and they want people to say nice things to them. But they probably want people to say nice things to them because they're lacking in self-confidence and they want a confidence boost and the adulation and the acceptance from others be that their friends or people around the world that they don't know, is a really comforting thing to some people, and that's how they gain the confidence. Whether that's healthy or unhealthy is another debate to have, but it's something that they obviously thrive on and something that they want to do. And by leaving nasty, hurtful comments can really affect someone's day, and unfortunately it can really affect people's lives and the lives of their families. There's too many instances of trolls saying things to people and it leading to disastrous consequences. And I'm not talking about, we see it in mainstream media with things that happen like Caroline Flack, and that the press bullying her and horrible things people saying to her on Instagram based on what they've read on the newspapers. But even things like, there's a YouTuber, and she was called Lee. I forget her surname, but she just seemed like a really lovely girl. She was living her best life, doing van life. I think she had her own struggles, and she got bullied online by a troll who kept going after her, and it destroyed her life. And one day she couldn't take it anymore, and the poor lass didn't see any other way out than taking her own life. And it's the devastation and the outpour of grief from her friends, from her family, from people who watched her online, and these communities that we build on YouTube and her Instagram following. People felt like they knew her, and I suppose they knew the best parts of her through Instagram, but they didn't know those frailties and those vulnerabilities. And that's why you need to be really careful about what you say to people, because words matter to a lot of people, and vulnerabilities, and if you're feeling shit about yourself, you don't need that emphasizing by twats who've got nothing better to do than to go after you through pure, I would call it jealousy, really. Jealousy or unhappiness in their own lives. So if you are listening, I'm sure you're really good people, and people in the community that I'm building on YouTube and the friends I've met through YouTube are really great people, and there's some really, really good souls in that community. But if you do, or you have been guilty of leaving a bad comment online about someone, or you've just felt like lashing out, just really think about the consequences of words, because as I said, if I'd have got a torrent of abuse after my first video, then maybe I probably wouldn't have continued to make them, because would I have wanted that negativity in my life at that stage in my life when I first went wild camping, when I was at a very low point in my life? Probably not. Now I've built up some resilience, and I feel more equipped to deal with any dickheads who leave comments, and I just would shake it off. But some people can't, and it really devastates. And I think a lot of people go back to the fear of failure. It's not a fear of failure. It's not a fear that it won't work. It's a fear that it won't work, and people will tell you that it's not working, and they'll call you out for it, and they'll criticize you, and they'll say bad things to good people because they're having a bad day, and it really has unintended consequences, and can really ruin stuff. So yeah, sorry for getting deep on that, but kind of segued into it. But it's shit. It's not a nice place to be when you see that happening. So if you do see it happening, call it out. And if it does happen to you, if you get nasty comments online from people you don't even know, 1, delete them. 2, tell them to fuck off. 3, ignore it. They don't mean anything. I can't remember what Paul Mesner calls someone, Skidmark 64 or something, because people had left horrible criticisms on his videos. That said stuff about his beautiful fiancée Jo, and it just, people, you just don't need that. So that's why I think people have a fear of starting things, because there's a fear of what other people think, and often in the world we live in now, it's a fear of what people who we will never ever meet think, and it's just quite unhealthy. Understandably, kind of worry sometimes about what people in your close circle might think, because they'll give you feedback, but you know the feedback you get from the people in your close circle will be feedback that they genuinely mean, and it'll come from the right place. And you can take it on the chin. Sometimes it's not nice to hear, but you know it's coming from a good place. But if it's coming from some tosser on the internet, then fuck them. They don't know anything. They're not doing it themselves, so ignore it. So yeah, fear of what people think. There isn't one. There shouldn't be. And I, for one, if you are listening to this and you want to do your own podcast or you film your own YouTube videos, let me know in the comments. Or drop me a DM at Yorkshire Lad Outdoors on Instagram. I'd love to listen to your content. I'd love to go on YouTube and watch it. I'd love to follow your stuff on Instagram and follow your journey, because that's what we're all on at some stage. We're all on a journey to get somewhere. And if it's doing the things you love and you want to pursue it, get after it. And I'd be absolutely honoured to follow you on that journey. And I just want to say good on you for doing it. Go for it. The biggest regret we'll ever have in our lives is looking back on his deathbed and saying, I wish I'd have tried something. I'd rather look back and laugh and go, remember when I tried that and it absolutely went tits up. I'd much rather that than look back and go, I wish I'd have had a go at that. I wonder what would have happened if I'd have done a podcast. I wonder if I'd have filmed, what would have happened if I filmed that YouTube video. And more often than not, I do think, I wonder if I never went on that first wild camp to Angletarn. I wonder if I'd have thought it's too far out of my comfort zone. Because the outdoors and camping and hiking has led me to a much stronger place in my own head, and has given me a much more grounded approach to life. And yeah, it's just, as I said, it's a bit of a sanctuary, and it's my therapy. As mentioned last week, it's an expensive one. Let's lighten the mood a little bit. Come on, Rye. So yeah, let's lighten the mood a little bit. Well, you can either see this as funny, depressing, or exciting if you're fucking rolling in money. I've just watched a video online tonight, and I talked last week about consumerism and camping and stuff being too expensive. Osprey have bought a bag out. Get this, £700. £700 for a backpack. I honestly have no idea what that backpack is going to do. It better fucking carry itself up a hill for me to fork out 700 quid on a backpack. That is just absolutely ludicrous. It's got all the technology that Osprey have ever used. They've used all the technology they've got and put it into one bag. I don't care. 700 quid is too much money for a backpack. I just don't understand what it can do for 700 quid. But that's the world we live in, and I'm sure people will buy it because we've got that weird feeling of, I wonder what a £700 backpack is going to be like. But I think I'm a long way off looking at purchasing something like that. But just mental, that the cost of some things and how much more technology can go into a backpack. Right, how long have we been going for? Wow, nearly half an hour now. Is that how long I was ranting on about fucking scared of what people think? Anyway, let's make sure I've got stuff that I don't miss anything out. What have I said? What I've been up to, I've told you that. Camping with kids, told you that. Camping with Al, mentioned that. New bag. Fear of what people think. We've been through that to death, and that segued into something much darker. But valid, I think we need to talk about. Oh yeah, and then I think I'm going to finish each podcast with shout outs and vids to look out for, because I would hope that anyone listening and watching this would share, if you're enjoying it and you like what you hear, I'd love for you to share it with kind of friends and family and anyone else you think might find this somewhat interesting. And if they're on the commute and they've got 30 minutes to listen to some lad from Huddersfield talk nonsense about camping and the odd bit of mental health chat, please share it far and wide, let them know. And I want to do the same to other people out there who are creating content and trying to entertain people and take us on their journeys. So, like I said, Matt from Adventure is Made, he's reached 20,000 subs this week. Absolutely epic. Go follow his last video as well. He's got a canoe. Say no more. He had a laugh doing that. The legend that is Andy Beavers. How's that doing, Andy? The alright kidder? He's been out at Peaks again this week. just I just watched his video tonight. He's camped above the Winner's Pass, and what he don't know about the Peak District isn't worth knowing about. If you follow him on Instagram, he does a Peak District quiz. I think it's every week or every fortnight or something. I don't know how many questions there could be about a Peak District, but he knows everything. He seems to win it every week, and his videos on the Peak District are just absolutely brilliant. So go follow his content. His videos are so good, so down to earth, so authentic, and he's just finished all the Wainwrights as well. So that's worth go checking Andy out. Paul Mesner's got a couple out. He's been camping on the coast this week, so go follow Paul and keep his channel growing, and keep his dream alive, because, as I say, he's made a career out of this, and he deserves every accolade. So keep following him. Bushman and Blue, Al's been up in Ben Nevis with his dog, the most beautiful dog I think I've ever seen. Blue, I think Australian sheepdog. So go follow him. And East Anglian Bushcraft has been out as well on a couple of solo camps. So go follow Craig as well, and his mate Liam, Primal Nomad. They've had some brilliant videos out, and I think Dave has been out as well, the solo summiteer. So plenty of viewing on YouTube. If you've got nothing to watch, go give them a follow. Let them know you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe to their channels. And do the same to mine as well, if you'd be so kind. So that's it. Episode 3 done and dusted. I hope you're enjoying them. Let me know what you think. If you don't enjoy them, don't tell me the shit. Just stop listening to them. Delete me out of your life. I don't want to know if you don't like them. If you got constructive feedback of what you might want to hear on other podcasts, or what you think I could do slightly better, please let me know constructively. But yeah, thanks again for listening. Enjoy the rest of your week. Have a great weekend. If you're listening to this while you're driving, please drive safely. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks for watching. Hit the bell, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you for episode 4. And then for episode 5, we'll have our first guest. So, Siddhi.